Yeah, we're getting rocking and rolling here for a second. And if we're not rocking and rolling, there we are. The five.
Boom!
We're going now. Oh yeah, now I'm getting my notifications.
Good gosh, welcome in everybody.
We need a Joe Rogan intro, like one of those. Ooh, ah, you know.
Oh yeah, just a little soundbite.
We're gonna have more fun than that White House press briefing was for the last hour. We can tell you that.
Yeah.
So a lot more to talk about.
Yes.
A lot going on.
The talk of the gun world is that big freaking gun bill. That's for dang for sure, man.
Wonder how many people who watched our video from last week have sent their email into Congress. I know we've got tons of people from all across America who've been emailing their senators and congressmen. It's been great to see. I mean, thousands, tens of thousands of people all across the country have been doing this over the last couple of days. So this is definitely the big gun control threat right now that everybody's talking about. Every state, everywhere, every gun person knows about the Warren Johnson gun control bill. So
Guam's flipping over into the it's going to capsize.
You know, I said Puerto Rico the other day doing a video, and man, people were busting me up on that. Guam, not Puerto Rico. So.
It's Guam.
Well,
I couldn't keep them straight.
We down here in Georgia, we have the distinct honor of the lead House sponsor is from the Atlanta area, DeKalb County, Hank Johnson, on this bill, guys. And if you want to know anything about Atlanta, when you're done watching this video and how moronic the Democrats are down here in Georgia, go and Google Hank Johnson, Guam. Okay, just go watch that later. Not now. I don't want you to leave now. But
didn't he say it was U.S. military? There was too much weight of the military there, and that's what was going to make it capsize.
Yes.
Yeah. Wasn't that what it was?
Yes. He believes that islands capsize and that our U.S. military was going to basically flip over the island of Guam. He asked.
Wait, is that real?
Yes, it's real.
Yeah.
You haven't seen that video? Oh man.
No.
It's very
real.
I'm from Ohio. All we ever see here is Amy Acton and our lion governor talking about how ungodly everything is going to get out of control. We're all going to die.
It's very, very real. And for those of y'all, I know we got a lot of Midwesterners. Y'all have probably never been out of the state of Iowa or Minnesota before, right? Isn't that what happens up there?
Easy, buddy.
But anyways.
Well, not with our governor sitting there saying that we're going to lose 87,000 Minnesotans to...
Are you any more free down in Georgia right now?
No, that's the point. That's the point I'm trying to make is that, you know, when you think of Georgia, you think, oh, these old Southerners and all this stuff. It's just like Atlanta runs the show, man. And it's like people have been moving here for 30 years now from all over the country. New York City, Connecticut, you know. And it's about 52-48, man. And they've got about 48%. So it is bad news bears. And people like Hank Johnson are plentiful. You saw Stacey Abrams a few years ago down here, 2 years ago.
Yeah,
they're on every street corner, man.
It just goes to show that if you got nothing else going for you in life, if you're a total loser, just run for Congress.
Yeah,
run for office. I mean, it's like, how does a guy who thinks that Guam's going to capsize, how does a person like that get elected to office?
I'll tell you how, Ben. A friend of mine, his name is Wes Enos. He once told me, he's like, in order to become an elected person, you just have to be the smartest goober in Gooberville. That's it. It's the only qualification.
We're seeing a lot of that right now in Washington, D.C. My gosh. Everybody who was a staunch conservative. Wow. Everybody. We're all socialists now. That's the news headline of this cycle. We're all socialists now. So. But we're getting all of our watch parties set up here right now, everybody. If you guys want to do a watch party, go ahead. We're just about done doing it. And then we're going to actually get into the actual details of this video. But we're probably getting I probably got 200 requests or questions on this bill in the states where I work over the last couple of days. Probably all of us have on the details on this bill. There's so much in this bill. It's probably the biggest. I've never seen a federal or state gun control bill this big in my life. Maybe that Minnesota bill, Slocum's bill, that might be bigger than this as far as how many things it does. But we got at least a dozen bullet points of what this bill does. It's everything we've ever heard of from everybody, all wrapped into one bill, and that's the big.
I mean,
That's the
HR
big,
5717 is just one of those bills. It's like if this bill gets passed, it's all over. It's one of those bills. Like at least with a universal gun registration bill, it's like your name's going to go into a database and it's horrible, but at least you don't have, at least you still have like due process rights because it's not a red flag bill, right? It's like every gun control bill is bad, but some gun control bills like HR 5717 are the bills that just in one fell swoop are a total and utter destruction of our gun rights. It's all over.
But
It's
Ben,
all over from there.
what are you talking about this crap for? Because we know, that Mitch McConnell, and that Romney, they're gonna stop it. It ain't gonna go anywhere. What are you talking about this for?
Yeah, right.
Well,
I think it is important. I think it is important to remind everybody the breakdown again, because I got a lot of this week. A lot of this, just email. Oh, it could never pass. It could never pass. It's like, guys, you realize they've already passed red flags through the House. They've already passed universal background or gun registration through the House. Yeah, Nancy Pelosi, if she wanted to pass this bill, she could pass it. She has 235 or 240 Democrats. It takes 218 or 17 people to pass. Yeah, they could pass it. Now, all they need is a landslide election in November, and they'll pass it January 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 2021.
Yeah. So when we sit there and we see these emails from people like Phil Van Cleve, who got his ass handed to him,
Yes.
all session long in Virginia, they lost every single fight save for one in Virginia. Virginia has been left in dust and ashes after what happened there this session. And we still see these pompous incompetents come out with this morning's email saying that when this is serious, we'll let you guys know. But in the meantime, we're not going to excite our people about something that we don't think is worthy of your attention.
Morons.
How dumb can you be?
When there's almost no freedom left when it comes to gun rights in Virginia. Nothing against the Virginians, because it was the groups that failed, not the Virginians. But, they're all holding up. I see some of these organizations, the Foundation for Applied Conservative Leadership, doing these emails bragging about how they stopped the assault weapons ban. And they're trying to hold this up as though that was the gun bill this year in Virginia. But they lost everything. They've got red flags. They've got one gun a month. They've got universal gun registration. They have the destruction of their preemption law. Every town can pass their own gun control. They lost every single fight they played in except for one. And they're going to sit there now with a straight face and tell people in Virginia, there's just noise. This isn't a real threat. You should never.
It's like saying, I'm not going to try to stop the rapist that I know is in my house until he gets through the bedroom door.
Yeah.
Because how much of a threat really is he downstairs, or in the hallway? I mean, come on.
Well, and everybody knows. I mean, this is how politics works, right? So just yesterday, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, which is where I'm from, did a press conference and did his stay-at-home order, right? And of course, we're very frustrated by this. I don't like the idea of quarantining people. And he gets up there and he goes, now. There are people who are saying that we should do this stay-at-home order for 5 months. 5 months. But we think that that's just unnecessary. It's only going to be for 2 weeks. And so they immediately make you go, oh my gosh, 5 months. It could have been 5 months, but it's only going to be 2 weeks. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for being so reasonable. And so you look at what happened in Virginia, like Aaron was talking about. All those gun control bills passed, but the one that didn't was the assault weapons ban. And all these losers out there, these loser organizations are trying to claim credit. Well, we know what that was. Ralph Northam put all that stuff on there with the intention of taking that one bill and not passing it to make himself look reasonable, right? So everybody runs around thumping their chest. What a great job they did. And he passed everything else. It was all politics. We know exactly how this works.
This is the way the left always does it. I've used this analogy before with Ohio Gun Owners members, but at the end of the day, the left sits in their hotel rooms and they laugh about taking 10% of people's freedoms away. And the Republicans, the dumb Republicans, they sit in the next room over and they're like, ha, 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 we really showed them. We only lost 10% of our rights today.
Yeah.
That's the way you lose. That's the way you lose.
Should I read a quick bullet point of what this bill would do?
Yes.
Yeah, run through it.
So here's the deal, guys. HR 5717. This bill, and this is not all it does. This is some of what it does. This would expand gun-free zones. This would ban suppressors. This would create universal gun registration, a national gun registry. It would ban almost all semi-automatic rifles, okay? Semi-automatic. So, like, they're all gone. This would institute a federal magazine ban. It would implement national red flag gun seizure laws. This is all in one bill, HR 5717. There would be a 30% tax on guns and a 50% tax on ammo. They would force safe storage requirements on gun owners. And we've seen this before where the law, the way it's written in many states, becomes that police officers can enter your home without a warrant and they can demand to see where your guns are stored because that's the law. It would ban anyone under 21 years old from exercising their Second Amendment rights. Let's see, what else would it do here? Ban all of those 80%ers, 80% lowers and home builds. Let's see, would ration guns to one gun a month. One gun a month. Let's see, what else? I mean, there's more. There's a lot more. But that's just, that's part of it. That's HR 5717. That was introduced by, what's his name again, Patrick? What's his name?
Hank Johnson.
Hank
And Pocahontas Warren over in the Senate is S3254. But I think it's a great time right now, guys. I know a lot of y'all been getting emails from us. You've seen our posts on social media. How many of y'all, let us know in the comments, how many of y'all out there right now were able to use one of our pre-written emails to email your senators and your congressmen? Let us know down in the comments if you were able to do that. And I don't want you to go there right now. You can if you can multitask, but I printed it up here, or not printed it, wrote it, but if you can see it, defeat HR 5717. That's my chicken scratch there with a Sharpie, but defeat hr5717.com, defeat hr5717.com. So send your emails if you've yet to do it, guys. Ben, a question from Ken Carpenter in Georgia. He's one of our members. He says, do you know if they will grandfather in previously owned semi-auto?
Oh, I love talking about this.
Go for it, Aaron.
Go ahead.
Can I jump in here, Ben?
Sure.
Because I keep seeing this stuff. I was doing a video yesterday in Missouri, or maybe it was Wyoming or Iowa. I don't remember where it was. But people are saying, as one guy, he's like, well, he's like, you keep saying it's going to ban the AR-15. It's not going to ban the AR-15. It's going to ban it's just going to ban future sales. So the guns I have, they're fine. They're fine. Yeah. And it's the same with the magazines. Well, it only bans them after a future date. So what's the big deal? I'm fine. And, this guy was being a real prick about it. So I was kind of getting more upset perhaps than I should have. But, when people say that, if they're asking because they're just truly curious, that's a fine question. But if they're asking in the attitude that I get when I've probably done 150 gun shows in my life, working on behalf of Iowa gun owners or helping out with the Missouri Firearms Coalition. And when I get some guy who comes by the gun show table and won't sign a petition because, we don't need those AR-15s here, or I already got my AR-15s, I don't care. That's the kind of guy who I want to grab around the neck and squeeze until, something gives. Because
squeeze on behalf of your kids. Yeah.
I'm speaking with some satire because you arrogant, elitist, little short-term, selfish piece of trash. You can't even consider your grandchildren. You can't think about your kids. You can't think about the generations that are yet unborn. And you're going to sit here and honestly say that when your forefathers bled and died to codify a God-given right, that in your one generation, you're going to sit back on the couch as you're watching, TV 20 hours a day and let it go up in dust and ashes because you already got yours. I mean, if any of our founding fathers thought like that, we'd all be sipping tea and eating crumpets at at 3 p.m. Chris is sipping his coffee cup all of a sudden.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean,
Whiskey.
if you,
Why do you think that's
if
coffee
you
in
said
there?
something like that to one of our founding fathers, they just smack you into the next century. I mean, every one of these people sacrificed for a country that they did not yet get to see.
Yeah.
Many of them never got to see America.
Imagine
right?
that.
They fought in wars. They walked until the soles of their feet were just mush because they had no shoes. They died and froze to death in places like Valley Forge. They never got to see the America that they envisioned in their mind's eye. And not a one of those people sat there and went, I don't got to do that. I already got me mine. If they did that, America would not exist. So if you think that way,
and more to the point,
yourself.
all those founding fathers, they already had theirs. I mean, they were rich, wealthy men who sacrificed all that they had, to fund the armies, to fund everything that happened. I mean, so if anybody had the luxury of saying, I already got mine, and taking off for Europe somewhere or leaving the colonies to get away from an impending war, they could have done it. And they didn't do it because they want to stand there and build something for their children, their grandchildren, that would be far, far better.
Well, and from a practical purpose too, it's just a stupid argument because sure, they'll grandfather it in, and then when the next mass shooting comes along, it's gone.
Exactly.
Right? They'll just take it away, or they'll do what they do, like in the state of Washington when they pass this kind of
Come
stuff.
back. Yep.
They'll say, sure, you can keep it, but it can't ever leave your house. No, ban the possession of it. And so then it just sits in your house and it's basically useless. So it's just a
if that guy was asking that question from the perspective of, well, are they going to come around and grab them all immediately, or am I going to have time to get back to my gun safe and load up for bear and go out into the street and join my fellow patriots in a little freedom exercise? Well, then, yeah, you'll probably be able to get back to the safe in that.
Yeah,
if that's the spirit it was
that guy. Yeah, exactly. One of the questions I got, though, a lot was about this. Are we going to break this down? Are we good?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Roll with it.
Someone was asking about the specifics on the safe storage requirements. I see a lot of folks in New York right now who are rolling their eyes saying, welcome to our nightmare. This is like New York, gun laws for the whole country. And so in New York, it's already this way. But what this would do in particular when it comes to safe storage is that with only a couple of exceptions, if you have kids in your house or could ever have kids in your house, or if any reason to believe that a kid could ever set foot in your house ever, you have to have your firearms secured 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in some capacity. So you have to either have it on your person 24 hours a day, or you have to have it, more importantly, in a gun safe or otherwise inoperable with a trigger lock 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or have it in some other way inaccessible. So what they're talking about is having these guns totally secured and unable to be used. So it would literally be against federal law to have a firearm near your bedside stand in many of these cases, because in that capacity, it's not secured 24/7. Yeah. And so for people watching in Wyoming right now, or all these states have rural areas, but in Wyoming, it could be an hour, or for Idaho, for heaven's sakes, it could be an hour before the sheriff's deputy can arrive to your house. So these people honestly want you, when police response could be 20, 30, 40, an hour or more away, they want you to have to wake up, hear the proverbial broken glass, right? Go find your gun safe in the pitch black, get it unlocked, get your gun, find your ammo, load your gun while your heart's pounding, your hands are shaking, and your wife is screaming, and hope to God you can do that in time to confront some lethal threat to your family. And if not, if you break that law twice, you're a felon for life, done for life, owning firearms. That's what their safe storage part of this bill is. It's just insane. It's literally insane.
Well, I was looking at some of the numbers here, the report that I saw today. It looks like those of y'all out there who have already sent emails through our platform, guys, and they're pouring in right now. It looks like we're at almost 70,000 just in about 72 hours or so here, guys. A lot of emails pouring into the Capitol. Now, we want to be clear. There's a time and a place for petitions. Okay, and we love petitions because we deliver them a lot of times at the Capitol. But these emails that y'all are sending right now through the website, defeathr5717.com, they are going directly to your United States Senate offices. You have 2 senators. Everybody has 2 senators. And you have 1 congressman. Okay? So, I mean, I was just reading some of the numbers here. If you're in Ohio, let us know if you're in Ohio, guys. I was going through some of the numbers. Actually, I just went off the screen. Let me go back over here. But the guys in Ohio, through the American Firearms Coalition, have sent more emails than anyone else through the American Firearms Coalition.
We're some fighting some bitches over here.
And so, for example, I'm going to pull it up here in just a second. It's loading.
Well, that's because you're all under lockdown. You can't go anywhere. So in some states, we can still travel. So
and you're not.
Yes. So, for example, Sherrod Brown, just in 72 hours from the guys in Ohio, and I just want to make this clear. This isn't enough. There needs to be more. But 3,814 just through the American Firearms Coalition. I know y'all have done a lot through Ohio gun owners as well. Pennsylvania is massive, 2,500. Minnesota at over 2,000. Georgia at right at 2,000. Missouri's big, close to 2,000 as well. I'm just looking at some of the tops here, guys. But pound your emails. Pound your emails, okay? We are also, you say, well, I also gave you some money, American Firearms Coalition. Well, guess what? The American Firearms Coalition right now is running web ads all across the internet and all across the country. Okay? Yep. So if you want to chip in $25, $50, do it. But we're also encouraging all of y'all out there, okay? All of y'all out there to join up at joinafc.org. www.joinafc.org. www.joinafc.org. You get your t-shirt. You're going to get your membership decal. I know our fulfillment department is plowing away at that. And here in just a few minutes, guys, if you want to hear your name live tonight, we'll do first name and city and state. We will read your name off tonight if you become a new member of the American Firearms Coalition, and that'll be kind of an exciting time because you are contributing to this fight.
Yeah.
And
I mean, when Patrick hinted at fulfillment, what he's really saying is that my kids are working at it, and they are big time. I know this weekend alone, we're fulfilling over, it's like almost 250 new membership packets just in the last couple days from now. There's probably that many more that have come in since we've had time to get that last list pulled. So definitely, if you have become a member or made a major donation in the last couple of days, be watching your mailbox because we're doing these as often as we possibly can right now. It's a lot going on, but we're doing this as we possibly can.
Some of the numbers loaded up here, and I'll shut up here in a minute, but Iowa's coming in strong. They've got about 1,500 emails in. That's in addition to what y'all have been doing if you're a member of Iowa gun owners as well. Washington State has about 1,300 going in strong. Wisconsin is pumping pretty hard. New York, about 1,300. You guys need to step up. I'm just being honest with you. You tore through us down here about 150 years ago in the South. I'm going to tear through you right now. Okay, you guys need to step up to the plate and go to defeat.
Everybody in New York's got an air mask over their face right now. It's like the leading state in the country.
I want to pause and draw attention to that there for a minute. I think I heard correctly that you said Ohio and Pennsylvania, the Keystone State, are leading the fight right now.
They have the most. Yes, they have the most.
2 states. Oh, I love it. Yeah, freedom is alive and well, even though we have tyrannical governors in both of these states. I think this is just firing up all over the country right now. People are just grading under this tyrannical chokehold that all these governors are issuing all across the country. They're telling everybody, you exist at the pleasure of government. You exist at our good graces. And we've heard that stuff before. We've heard it before. And I'm just so glad to see that it at least the 2 states I'm focusing on right now. I mean, I might add some more to that in the future here. But I just love watching it because people are getting fired up and animated and ready to. Well, the number one question I keep getting in all the comment sections I'm monitoring over here is, well, so when is it time to take it to the steps that our founding fathers took? So they keep poking the bear. They keep poking the bear. Mike DeWine and Tom Wolfe, they're jabbing at us right now. And people are whipping out the war hawks, I guess I should say.
Do we have anybody out there right now who lives in a state where the gun shops are closed? Anybody watching right now? I mean, is that way in New York, Aaron? The members of the New York Firearms Coalition, are they?
I mean, there's basically almost no county in the state is issuing permits right now.
Okay, so we have that.
I know that, and there's a bunch of counties in Iowa that have ceased issuing permits. Missouri's not doing too bad because, of course, Missouri has constitutional carry. So if the governor says we're done issuing permits, they can kiss my butt. And Missourians like doing that. So, of course, Wyoming also has constitutional carry law.
I'm talking about ammo. I'm talking about guns and ammo. I mean, is there anybody from New Jersey watching or California? Haven't they shut the gun shops down?
So I know in Washington State, for instance, the governor's order that came out did not list gun shops as essential businesses. So there's kind of some confusion right now in the state, and a lot of gun shops have just remained open.
Okay,
kind
fair
of in
enough.
defiance of that potential order. There was a sheriff that just got his rear end handed to him too in California.
Yeah.
You remember that guy? He was like, "Oh, we're going to shut it all down," and some attorneys came in and said, "No, you're not."
Oh, okay.
Took him down. So there are some states that are trying to do it, but
okay, fair enough.
Idaho.
Withholding permits, local sheriff's
Yeah.
departments withholding permits, not issuing permits. That's
Daniela
stuff is
right here
happening
from-
all across the country right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Daniela
Right
says still
delayed.
open in Southern California. Still open in Southern California.
Still open? Okay.
And
But-
as Martin Luther King Jr. said, a right delayed is a right denied.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's a lot of
and
that.
quite sadly, I've seen a few people with very weak constitutions, I should say, are sitting there saying, "Oh, if you weren't prepared beforehand, you're blah 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 blah," and they just start, bloviating on. It's like,
Yeah.
not everybody has time to sit around and browse the internet all day, every day, and getting prepared for the SH shit hits the fan day. I mean, so I find those kinds of comments very ridiculous, but
Yeah. They're mostly
Well, I've seen that.
just
It's
ammo
like that
going on.
meme going around. How's it go? Quarantining sick people is something like quarantining sick people makes sense. Quarantining healthy people is called tyranny or something like that. That's what it is.
yeah.
Got some sick people. Let's just make all the healthy people locked down in their houses, tens and hundreds of millions
Let's
of
just
them.
destroy the local businesses. Let's just destroy the mom and pop shops. Let's take away their ability to provide for themselves and their families, or let's take away their American dream. I was talking to a guy yesterday who cleans other businesses for a living. He was telling me about a boutique that had opened up just 2 months before this all hit. He's like, they will never get off the ground now. Those businesses are done. There's a whole series of several of them in a row. They're done. They will never succeed as a small business now because of the unilateral declarations that are coming out of these governors. So,
And what did you read,
Yeah.
Patrick, earlier? As of today, the portion of the U.S. population testing positive for COVID-19 is 0.0002%.
Three, I think, 0.0003. Yes. Yep. I did read that, and
those aren't deaths, by the way. That's not the death rate. That's the testing positive for COVID-19. So
And
we're
what,
talking-
1 or 2% of those testing positive are actually
Yeah.
so 1% of 0.0003% of the population, and we just like totally tanked our economy and passed $2 trillion worth of pork. Pork is what they call it. But if anybody doesn't think these gun control bills can pass at a time like this, you're crazy. We're in an unprecedented political climate here. Anything goes. Anything goes.
Well,
And it's
take Ohio, for example. This is a Republican supermajority. We have Republican, chambers in both sides, on the House and the Senate. And what happened? Dayton happened. The Dayton shooting happened August 4th, and we've been in defense ever since that time, trying to stop Republican-sponsored gun control bills. God help us if there was a mass shooting right now, like a Walmart, where people are trying to get emergency groceries and stuff. If that would happen right now, This crap could barrel through the Senate in under 48 hours.
Yep.
Someone's asking, I think on the Missouri Firearms Coalition page, saying, doesn't this fall under the Stafford Act? Wouldn't this stop it? We've been covering the Stafford Act quite a bit in some of the states where I work in, and the Stafford Act would not stop this, guys, because the Stafford Act limits what the federal government can do during a disaster declaration. It's in the wake of the Hurricane Katrina mess, the Stafford Act became law. So that simply says the government cannot take firearms, register firearms, confiscate them, anything else during the disaster declaration via FEMA. But they can certainly change federal law, which is what this bill would do. That this federal law would change with this bill. All those bullet points you heard Ben mention would become law. And no, Stafford Act would not prevent any of that. It's only stopping the things that can be done during a disaster declaration. Yeah. So,
and the
somebody else is asking here in Wyoming, is this red flags as well? Yeah, this whole bill includes a red flag gun seizure law built right into it. So it's everything you can think of, as Ben said a little bit ago, including red flag gun seizures.
It's universal gun registration. It's red flag gun seizures. It's a ban on high capacity magazines. It's a 30% tax on guns, 50% tax on ammunition, bans everybody under 21 from exercising their rights. It bans suppressors, expands gun-free zones, forces mandatory safe storage requirements, and on and on and on in one bill. And the American Firearms Coalition is taking the lead on this and hammering on politicians all across America. We just read it just in the last couple of days. The members of AFC have sent over 70,000, just about 70,000.
Yeah. 72 hours.
70,000 emails into the Capitol building in D.C. opposing H.R. 5717 and telling everybody shut this crap down. So I'm going to take a minute, guys. I'm going to read some names off of the new members and supporters who just joined up with the American Firearms Coalition at joinafc.org. I'm just going to read them quick. We have Randy from Cuba, Illinois, just joined up with the American Firearms Coalition. We love you, Randy.
Cuba.
Jacob checking in from Coon Rapids, Minnesota. I bet I know him. Fantastic people. We have Tristan, just bought a family membership. What is it, Guyton, Georgia?
He's a life member of Georgia Gun Owners, Tris.
Is he?
Yep.
There we go. We have Kyle from Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. So here comes all the Minnesotans once again. I'm not surprised. Stephanie from Rutland, Ohio, just bought a family membership with the American Firearms Coalition. Go to joinafc.org. We have John, Stephanie. Just bought a membership from Rayville, Missouri.
Nice.
Rayville, Missouri.
We've got several AFC members in Rayville, actually, John.
That's awesome. John said they're going, you guys don't even know where Rayville is. We actually do.
Heck yeah, I do. A lot of Missouri Firearms Coalition members in Rayville as well.
That's awesome. I've eaten at a little local winery there in Rayville before.
Yeah.
Hey, does anybody have a copy of the co-sponsors of this legislation? Anybody have that handy?
Actually, I don't, but that's a good idea. I'll pull it up.
And so there was
got a couple more names. I'm almost done.
Okay.
I'm almost done. I have a list. We have Rhonda from Bartow, Pennsylvania, and John from Lawrenceville, Georgia, just bought a very generous membership with the American Firearms Coalition. So, guys, if you want to have your name read off here live today, go to joinafc.org, become a member of the American Firearms Coalition. Help us hammer on this stuff. We're getting the word out. It's going viral. It's going all over the place, and massive amounts of gun owners all across America are telling their congressmen, their U.S. senators, to shut this crap down because we have to take it seriously. We have to take it seriously because I keep hearing this. I don't think it's going to pass. It's like, look, we just talked about Virginia. By the time Virginians realized that they had a problem on their hands, it was too late. Yeah. If you only fight gun control when there's like 100% chance of passage, well, it's going to pass because there's 100% chance of passage. The best time to fight to stop gun control is when there's a low chance of passage. It's like they stick their head up. Hey, can we pass a little gun control? And gun owners just pound it back into the ground. That's how you do it. It's how you get them to not come out a little further, to not push it a little further. You hammer it down every time. Because again, if you don't, you end up like Virginia, where 50, 60,000 gun owners marching on the Capitol wasn't enough to turn the tide. But if they had done that 2 or 3 years prior,
Yes.
it would have been a totally different story.
Yeah, Ben, speaking on that, so for those that are watching, I'm the president of the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance. I also work in Washington with Washington Gun Rights, and it's kind of fascinating because I've done speaking engagements. I talk to gun owners in both states, and it's fascinating because they got a whole bunch of gun owners in Idaho who are like, Idaho's fine, we're deep red, we'll never turn blue like all these other states. And then if you go to Oregon or California or Washington or Colorado or Nevada, and you talk to the gun owners in those states, all of them will tell you, we didn't see it coming, and now we're ready to fight. And it's like, no, we should have been fighting 10, 15 years ago as hard as we possibly can. And now that people haven't gotten involved, now they've taken over. And like you said, now they do whatever the hell they want because they run the state. The radical leftists run the state. And so
right.
if
you're listening to what Greg just said there, what Ben's point just was, and you're one of those people who have been sitting there asking us, why are you guys so vicious? Why do you guys beat the hell out of some of these politicians so hard in Ohio? And by the way, that's what we're going to be doing now in Pennsylvania. Why do you act that way? Why don't you go around and just make friends with them? Well, that doesn't work. It doesn't ever work, and that's how you get yourselves screwed at the end of the day. So thanks for that story there, Greg.
Well, I know, like right now in Minnesota, so we have our legislature is still in. They're meeting today, by the way. They're doing remote voting. They have people like politicians standing out in the hallways, like writing their votes down on paper or something. It's absolutely asinine. The public is basically not allowed to be there. Only a couple of members at a time. And there's one really dumb lobbyist up there, really dumb guy named Lazy Rob, and he's just like up there wearing a face mask, like waltzing around the Capitol. What are you going to do? What are you going to do if they decide to take up gun control right now during a coronavirus pandemic when you're just one guy up there kissing politicians' butts? Meanwhile, the members of Minnesota Gun Rights and many members of the American Firearms Coalition have sent over 122,000 emails into St. Paul in the last 7 weeks opposing gun control. If anything, stopping gun control. It's basically an army telling these people to back down what they're doing here. You got to fight it now. You got to fight it always. You got to always dump it on them because all of a sudden, look, an unprecedented virus is hitting America, and politicians are seizing huge amounts of wartime powers, peacetime powers, emergency powers, amassing it to themselves. Bills are being passed at lightning fast rates in states all across America. And if we're not here just beating the hell out of these politicians all the time, well, we're not doing our job. We're not doing our job, and you shouldn't join. But we are. So go to joinafc.org, become a member of the American Firearms Coalition, and send your email off to your politician, your congressman, your U.S. senators, telling them to oppose H.R. 5717.
So Tim Stafford in Pennsylvania, that's the difference between us and the NRA, just so you know. So we are proactive. We believe in prosecuting them in the court of public opinion and persecuting them at election time, making them pay dearly for everything they do to us during the legislative season. So that's the difference between us. We go around and actively hunt them down, politically speaking, for the human impaired, and make them pay the price. Whereas, quite for most intents and purposes, if Wayne LaPierre isn't shoe shopping in Hollywood, they're reactionary. They react. They don't. They're not proactive. So. Yeah.
Terry says, I've signed your letter and been sending it every single day since you posted it to my congressman or woman in D.C.
Give them hell.
That's the thing. You can use it every day, guys. Every day. You can sit there, you can send the email, and you can send another email, and you can send another email, and it'll literally take you 5 seconds. If you have the link on your phone, if you have it up on a web browser on your computer, just press the button. Press it one time, every single day. And every single day, both of your senators and your congressman or woman will get an email from you telling them to oppose HR 5717. It's never been so easy.
Michael's saying he's scared his emails are going to someone's junk folder. Michael, that's not the case, because what's going to happen is you're going to get these form letters back from you're in Iowa, it says here. So obviously from Grassley and Ernst, and of course they're going to be BS in the response, but you'll get the response. They're seeing them. Their staff is counting them. They may be home in their underwear right now, working teleremote, with a dress shirt and a tie on and nothing else, but they're going to get the emails and they're going to respond. And, for people, for you in Iowa, Joni Ernst has got one of the tightest races of the U.S. Senate this year. They just downgraded her race from likely to leans Republican. The Cook Report did that yesterday, I believe, or 2 days ago. So she's very receptive to gun owners right now. And I'm not saying she would ordinarily be a problem on this, but man, the only folks she's made squeal in D.C. for the last 6 years has been conservatives. So she needs to hear from you very, very badly.
And not in delight.
And what?
And not in delight.
Not in, not in delight. So, but what's
Go
that?
ahead. I love Minnesotans. I'm from Minnesota. I love Minnesota. Kyle, who I just checked here, and sure enough, he did. Kyle just said, "Shit, I just had some beers and joined AFC twice." LOL. Oh well. And sure enough, he joined AFC, and then he went and sent his email and made another contribution while drinking a couple beers in Minnesota.
I hope he's drinking a Corona.
Is so great. I know. Oh yeah. I love it.
A lot of folks watching New York right now who are saying thank God for the New York State Firearms Association. Three or four of you guys in a row. We're very proud of the work that our sister organization is doing in New York. I have been in Albany a bunch this session. It's been all shut down, as it has been. Missouri is shut down. Iowa is shut down. New York is not shut down, but it's shut down to the public. Strong chance they're going to adjourn for the year in Albany once the budget passes. So they're going to do a quarterly budget now, not an annual budget. Very bizarre thing, but a lot happened. All these state groups, though, guys, are putting out these emails and giving you guys the information you have to have. So be watching your inbox. There's a lot of stuff happening because there's a lot going on right now. So be watching your inbox. But Ben mentioned a while back about petitions versus emails. You guys have probably seen organizations that push those a lot. Petitions. Who knows what happens with those? What about this is these emails are going to your congressman. They're going to your senator. They're seeing what you want them to see. And that's exactly why you got to keep the pressure on. And you can do it multiple times. One of the cool things about our program, as you guys will see, is that these emails are not the same. So an email you fire off on a Tuesday will not be the email you fire off on a Wednesday or a Thursday or a Friday. So there's fresh content, fresh material. So make your voice heard over and over and over.
Well, I brought it up earlier, and I want to follow through on it because I know there's a lot of people from all over the country who are interested. But this is a Democrat bill, and it was. We'll just walk you through it here real quick. Not the whole bill, but it was introduced on January 30th by Hank Johnson here in Georgia. He's about 30, 40 miles from me here, where I am right now in Kennesaw, Georgia. All Democrat co-sponsors, but I want to read these co-sponsors to y'all, most of them from the Northeast. But again, if this were brought to the floor of the House, it would very likely pass unanimously, or not unanimously. Yeah, I guess that's the right word, right? But with enough votes. They have enough votes.
Conference, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They have enough votes, guys. So Democrats, listen up. Listen, guys. If you have a pen and paper, if you want to record these names, go ahead and do it. But you've got Joseph Kennedy, so Ted Kennedy's son or grandson or cousin or something, nephew is a co-sponsor from Massachusetts. Mike Quigley from the 5th District of Illinois, Anthony Brown from Maryland, Joseph Morrell from New York, a lot of New York guys on here, Rosa DeLauro, a total whack job from Connecticut, Carolyn Maloney from New York, William Keaton from Massachusetts, Stephen Lynch, Massachusetts, Seth Moulton, Massachusetts, Ayanna Presley, Massachusetts. She's a member of the Socialist Squad. Lori Trahan, never heard of her, from Massachusetts. James McGovern. So like the entire Massachusetts delegation is a co-sponsor of this bill. Danny Davis, Illinois. Richard Neal, Mass. Catherine Clark, Mass. Bill Pascrell, New Jersey. I believe he's a Democrat. Elliot Engel, Democrat, New York. Eleanor Norton Holmes, Democrat. at large, Washington, D.C. And again, if this came to the floor of the House, if you live in a state where you got Democrats or you live in a Democrat district, they'll be on there. Okay, maybe we can, or you could pressure a few of them off there because they're scared politically speaking of something happening. But I think Chris mentioned it earlier. You imagine a mass shooting at a grocery store, Publix, Kroger, Walmart, people trying to load their buggies up, Costco lined up 30 deep in line, and somebody mows down 75 people or something? You don't think this is going to come to the floor of the House? Oh, yeah. You don't think, I mean, a lot of y'all love Trump. There's people here that love Trump. We don't like some things. We hate others. Okay, we can debate that another time. You don't think in an election year that he would try to do something because of public outcry? Hell yes, he would. Okay. So, and who are the Senate sponsors, Aaron? You've got Pocahontas.
Yeah, you got Booker.
Spartacus.
Booker, otherwise known as Greg Pruitt's buddy. But we'll save that story maybe for later or maybe for tonight. I don't know. We got Booker. You got Menendez, who's how many criminal charges did that guy beat a while back in court? Warren, Booker, Menendez, and Edward Markey.
New Jersey, all the Yankees up there, of course. But there's plenty of Democrats. But while I'm still talking, guys, let me throw this up here. First is sign your emails. Okay, we're probably over 75,000 now since the show started. Defeat HR 5717, defeat HR 5717. And that's just for the American Firearms Coalition. All these state groups here, we probably have more than 75,000 if you added them all up. So we're looking at probably 150,000 in the last 72 hours. If my math is right, it's about 2,000 an hour. Boom, 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 boom.
Beautiful.
Just pouring in there. So defeat HR 5717 and joinafc.org. I know a ton of y'all are joining tonight, which I'm very happy about. Joinafc.org, joinafc.org. Does anybody want to read off some of the new members?
I will, guys? But I think we do have to get back to the Pruitt-Cory Booker story after I finish reading off some names. Because that was good stuff. And I think that Greg would likes to minimize how popular he is with a good senator from New Jersey. But anyway, all right, fine. Although it's still a good story.
Spartacus thought he had a date there with Greg. Yeah,
he loved Greg's tie, and that should tell you a lot. Anyway,
was it purple?
Adam from Wisconsin
Rainbow?
just bought a very generous membership moments ago from Wisconsin. We got Mark from Harlan, Iowa. Good people over in Iowa, which is my home state, as well as Chris and Ben. Let's see. Quentin just got involved, joined up at Minnesota Lake, Minnesota. Where is that particular town at? I don't even know where Minnesota Lake is. Mike in Reynoldsburg, Ohio, became a member moments ago.
Nice, not too far from me right now.
Tim from Allentown, Pennsylvania, just got signed up. A lot of folks who are enraged out there tonight, and they should be.
I dated a girl named Allentown once.
Mule Creek, New
Basketball
Mexico.
Never
been to that town. Donald just joined the American Firearms Coalition. Todd from Center Hall, PA, just joined up. We got Tyler from Casper, Wyoming. I think Tyler's watching right now on the YGO watch party. Robert from Arkport, New York. New Yorkers in the house tonight. Good to see that. Thomas, Warrensburg, Missouri. Getting some Missourians in here. Gee whiz, lots of folks here. Holly in Columbus, Ohio, just became a member of the American Firearms Coalition at Join AFC.
Wonderful, Holly.
Org.
Glad to have you.
Daniel from Garnerville, New York. Good to see you here tonight as a new member of the American Firearms Coalition. James in Gaylord, Minnesota, just joined up at Join AFC.
We love James. It's
fantastic.
fantastic.
Kyle, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. I have lip dropped. No, I'm thinking St. Louis Park. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yep.
Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, just became a member of the American Firearms Coalition. Brian from Crookston, Minnesota. There's just names everywhere tonight, guys. Keep them coming. If you want your name read off, we'll keep doing it. We got Richard here from Colorado Springs, Colorado, in the house tonight as a new member of the American Firearms Coalition. So a lot of folks getting signed up. Anybody who joins as a member gets swag, gets shirts sent to them, everything else, and we're doing that as fast as we can. It's one thing we can do during the lockdowns, right? No, I'm kidding. We're never going to stop. We're never going to be locked down. So you guys join up. Your shirt and stuff comes to you as soon as we can get it done.
Does anybody have a shirt? You got a shirt handy, Aaron, or you?
No, I don't.
Okay, not at the moment.
I got a Coors Light shirt on.
Yeah, very nice. We could send those out, huh? Coors Light's right here now.
Should have worn my Corona
I did
shirt.
see that awesome Facebook video. I think it was in Minnesota this morning. A neighbor, they're under lockdown, right? So his neighbor and him are trying to drink a beer, and they have a remote controlled car, and they wired up a little beer koozie to the back of it. And so this guy is sending a beer across the street to his neighbor. That way they can maintain social distance.
That's hilarious.
They're sitting there drinking.
It's like,
it was great.
Go drive it up. It was great.
People are only gonna sit and do nothing for about so long before they're like, you know what, screw this. It's gonna happen.
Well, it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Oh, but I won't go back into it.
Oh, I mentioned it earlier, and I don't know how clear I was, guys, but we are spending on digital ads, okay, all across the internet right now. When you're contributing, a huge percentage of what you're contributing now is going directly into reaching more Americans, okay? There's nothing to be hidden here. All of us represent state groups in states, okay? But there's 50 states, okay? And right now, when you contribute, I can't tell you the exact percentage. It's chunks, though, big chunks. Chunks of money that you are contributing right now, we are putting into ads all over the United States, asking people to send their emails into the Capitol in Washington, D.C. But between our state groups and the federal group here, guys, probably 150,000. Don't have the exact numbers right now, guys, but we want to get to 1 million. We want to get to 1 million. I mean, that's just a fun goal. I mean, maybe we can say 250 or 500 or 1 million, but let's get there. Share it with your friends and family. Make it happen. I think Greg has a story to tell. Why don't you go ahead and tell that story, Greg? You seem pretty excited about that, so go ahead.
I should have brought the tie out, and I apologize. I'm like freaking sleepy Joe Biden tonight.
That's all right.
But I actually did get tested for the China virus the other day.
So you might possibly have it, right?
There is a possibility always. I had some of the symptoms, but
now you people wonder why we don't have Greg on, because we don't want to catch China virus from Greg through our program. So we try to keep him off. And
I got my wife is doing like 2 weeks, and I thought, man, if I do have this thing, or if I don't, I guess I wanted a negative test. So they can say, I don't have it.
Get you in the hospital.
I go to the hospital and I start coughing, and I'm going to get mugged and raped in the hospital, and they're going to throw me in quarantine. So
raped in the hospital. Only if Corey's there.
I did
Spartacus is there.
So we'll get to Corey.
Nurse Spartacus will put he'll happily put on the rubber gloves and snap them really hard when he comes to check in on you. Greg. So go ahead and tell your story.
Well, do you know when your test comes back, Greg?
They said it was 3 to 5 days, and it was, I think, yesterday when I did it. So I'm thinking probably Monday I should hear something.
Okay.
So, but I had the swine flu years ago, man. That was way worse. That about killed me.
Wow.
I was miserable. So when we were all in D.C. in last year trying to stop red flag laws, when Trump and everybody was kind of talking about red flag laws, and Lindsey Graham and Marco Rubio, the stalwarts of the Second Amendment, And so we were all, knocking and pounding on doors for you guys in DC. And, if you've never been to DC, there's like big, huge hallways, and they kind of loop around. And I look down the hallway and I see this big, huge light. And sadly, it was not Jesus. It was Cory Booker.
I was going to say, don't follow the light, man.
Light at the end of the tunnel.
It's a trap. It's a trap.
And it was Cory Booker, unfortunately. And he was doing a TV interview. And I just kind of sat there. And I was live streaming the whole time, or recording the whole time, thinking, he's right here. And there's only a handful of his staffers that were there. And as soon as we got done, I went around to start, getting on him about guns, Aaron. And he goes, "Hey man, that's a really nice tie." And I should have brought out the tie, but it's like this American flag tie that my wife bought for like $10. And he was all into the tie, I gotta say. And when I started hitting him on guns and asking him about his gun control efforts, he booked it like the Spartacus pussy that he is, and took off running. And that was it. That was kind of it. But you can actually go watch the whole video on YouTube. If you go to Greg Pruitt in Idaho and go onto my YouTube channel, you can watch the video of me, trying to confront Cory Booker and him hitting on me at the Capitol. So
it's just so gross.
Wasn't he doing a press conference, or wasn't he talking on reparations? He was doing a media interview on reparations, all about giving giving our money back to whatever psychos.
Yeah, it was pretty. Him and I also got a beat up on Little Marco.
Little Marco.
That was a good one. Could have been better, but it was good. It's like Trump said, that could have been better, but it was good.
Yeah.
You might have to Little Marco a little bit. Could have been a little bit better.
That's
So
good
hey,
stuff.
I know the memberships are pouring in. Does anybody want to rip off some names there and see what we got? Ben, you want to go back to
sure.
it? We'd like
Yeah,
to
well,
do it. A lot of Midwesterners coming in.
I love people, so I'm a people person. They say at the state capitol in Minnesota that I'm a real a-hole, but I'm actually a real big people person. People love me, just not politicians very much. So we have Joel joined up today from Casper, Wyoming. Aaron's addicted to that state.
I love that state.
Well, hold on about Wyoming. Hold on. Isn't it flat except the mountains out west? I mean, isn't it just kind of dusty and flat and cold?
That's
what do
the
you like
point.
about it?
You can see him coming from a long ways away, Patrick. That's the point.
Yeah, that's pretty.
We have hills here, so you can't see anybody coming. That's probably why we got beat 150 years
That's
ago.
why they like the distance. They can
Well,
see
that's
him
why
coming.
they have the zombies down there in Georgia. So
Boy, don't get me started.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ben. Ben is reading this.
Zach from Meridian, Idaho, just made a very generous contribution after sending his email off opposing HR 5717. So thank you for that. Jonathan from Cincinnati, Ohio, just became a member of the American Firearms Coalition.
we
have Patrick from Eldridge, Iowa.
Does his last name start with an S?
Yes, it does.
I know that guy. Good to see you, Patrick. Thank you, man.
Love that. Joel just bought it was very generous membership from Casper, Wyoming again. So it looks like he bought 2 memberships. So I don't know. We like that. Hey, he's just trying.
You were asking about Flatland. Shut up.
Well, Joel is buying 2 memberships, so he's competing with Kyle from Minnesota, who bought
There we go.
2 memberships. So here we go. Everybody go buy a second one. We like that. Chandler from Rib Lake, Wisconsin, just became a member of the American Firearms Coalition. We have Leah from Oxford, Massachusetts, just became a member of the American Firearms Coalition. So those are some of the names that are coming in right now. Again, go to joinafc.org and become a member of the American Firearms Coalition. We're basically the only group in America that actually shows you what we're doing instead of just pounding you all the time with
gun giveaways,
and ammo giveaways and whatever else, and shipping your money off to some other state across America. We actually show you what we do.
I'm sorry. People in people in Wyoming are not very happy. So John says, "Shut it, Georgia. Shut it." And then somebody else says that dude needs a road trip badly. John comes back on and says the ginger assassin needs a road trip.
Hey, I'll go anywhere, man.
I think everybody's getting a little fidgety these days. I think we've been in quarantine for entirely
There's not
too long.
ever been a better time to take a road trip than right now. The gas is cheap. The
Yeah.
traffic is non-existent.
Fly.
Folks, we're under a stay-at-home order here in Ohio, but I've been logging the miles on my bike and on my truck because there's no better driving weather. It just doesn't get any better than this. So go for a road trip.
I saw
there's a hotel that would love you.
Yeah, I saw I don't want to miss him because he just came in a few minutes ago, but Russell in Waverly, New York. He sent us a message too. Yeah, so he just joined at the $85 level. So thank you, Russell, for that. I know it's tough there in New York, and we're trying to stop this federally, and a huge chunk of that's going to go to ads going all over the country, my man. So hopefully your contribution can stir some other people into action.
Well, yeah, and that's a great point, Patrick. I mean, if you feel like you live in one of these states, like if you're in Illinois or California right now, and you're like, what the heck can I do? Well, you can help us out right here by contributing to this program that we're running all across the country because, the message gets outside of the state then, and it really goes to help everybody out.
Well, I've spent a lot of time in Albany this session. Everybody knows that. And there's a lot of New Yorkers, who are either going to fight all the way tooth and nail, or they're thinking about where can I bounce to down the road if it gets too hot, if the laws just suck that bad. If we don't stop this kind of crap, there's nowhere to go. That's it. The entire country, Cheyenne, Wyoming is going to have the same gun laws that Rochester, New York has, right? That's what we're looking at here. People in California will have nowhere to go. The same gun laws you have there will be in effect in Carthage, Missouri. There's going to be no freedom left. This kind of stuff goes unabated. And if these guys ever flip that chamber, this will pass. This kind of stuff will be moving at warp speed. And again, I think Ben mentioned, look at freaking Virginia. They took hours after they gabbled in to begin advancing these bills. And I know we were, I think, three of us were there at that rally and did videos out there. Huge crowd, really cool, awesome to see it. The very next morning, they were ramming through red flag gun seizure laws in the House of Delegates. So
with Republican support, I might say.
Yeah, and certainly with the UBCs, the GOP was backing that bill in particular. And so those things are fun. It's kind of going to a family reunion. You kind of drawn to it like a moth to a flame, but you're kind of scared who's going to show up. It's kind of the same thing with these
especially
things here.
These days, huh?
They're fun to attend, but they don't do anything. And the one in Virginia did nothing. But these emails are making your voice heard in real time. You go to a rally, you're not going to talk to a politician. You're not going to get to talk to anybody.
Well, that's exactly why we loaded up and went out to that rally. It's so we could show everybody else, essentially, when it gets to this point, it's too late. It's too late. So don't ever Virginia yourselves. That's why we went there, to show this to people, how, it's quite frankly, these rallies just don't have that much impact.
Yeah.
None.
I mean, there's one thing. I mean, we know this. We've seen this so many times. There's one thing and one thing only that scares a politician, right? I mean, it's political death, right? If they get thrown out of office, it's the thing that it's a politician's worst nightmare. And the only people who can throw a politician out of office are the people who live in their district. They're the only ones who can vote for them or against them. So when a politician gets an email, not from somebody in some other state somewhere, they don't care what those people have to say. But when a politician gets an email from somebody who lives in their district, how much you did, that's the only thing that'll make a politician go, and maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe I should not support this legislation, or maybe I should stand up and adamantly oppose it because I've gotten 200, 300, 500, 1,000 emails from gun owners in my congressional district, or 10 or 20,000 emails in my U.S. Senate district. That's an eye-opener. And it's the only thing that'll make a politician do something that they don't want to do. And that is why these emails are so insanely important. They're so effective. That's why we're doing this. If there was something better to do, we'd be doing it. So go to joinafc.org, become a member of the American Firearms Coalition. Go to defeathr5717.com or click on the link in the comment section. It's also in the description of every video, no matter where you're watching from right now, and send your pre-written email. It'll go straight to your congressman, straight to your U.S. senators. And you know what? It doesn't get any easier than that. And it's almost, actually, when I think about it, it's almost so easy. It almost seems like it's not, I don't know, like it's almost like it's not useful. I don't know. It's like a mental thing. It's like, unless you're buying $1,000 plane ticket and flying out to Virginia because you think that's the most useful thing you can do. No, the most useful thing you can do at this moment is the easiest thing. And that's simply press that button and fire off your pre-written email. So I'm done monologuing. I've been talking for an hour.
Well, why don't we rip a few more names off on there, guys, and give everybody a chance to join. Everybody down with that? What do we got here? Let's see.
I wanted to mention one thing here to Stephen Dugstad, if I pronounce that right. Stephen, for some reason, you are not on the list that we are fulfilling right now. So unless you join up in the last 3 or 4 days, that list has not been repulled. But if you join up in the last couple of weeks or whatever like that, you better send us a message on our Facebook page because something's not quite right. So I want to make sure I mention that for Stephen. And I want to do a shout out also to AJ Failer. In Iowa, AJ has joined up both IGO and AFC in the last couple of days. And so he's obviously committing deeply to this fight. We appreciate that very much, AJ. So that's great to see. Thank you very much on that.
Yeah, I see Ron, the great Ron Culpepper from Warner Robins, Georgia, is in. He's a GGO member. He just joined tonight. Thank you, Ron. Appreciate it, my friend. Dana in Schwenksville, Pennsylvania, is in at the $65 level. Thank you, Dana. Dana. Let's go back a few here because they've just been pouring in page after page.
Saw some Missourians in there.
Charles in Cottonwood, Arizona. Brian in Creston, Ohio. Robert in Bulger, PA. Sean in Gardnerville, Nevada. Robert in Great Bend, Kansas. Nationwide, folks. Marion in Ringgold, Georgia, up in Walker County. Jim in Thompson, Georgia. Carrie in Arlington, Washington. Mike in North Royalton, Ohio. George in Burlington, North Carolina. Guys, this is all at joinafc.org. I could go all day long. Paul in Harris, Minnesota. Tim in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. David, Hastings, Minnesota. James, Rock Springs, Wyoming. I'm trying to get everybody in here. Jeffrey, Homer Glen, Illinois. Eldon, North Buena Vista, Iowa. Sharon, Grove City, Ohio. Johnny, Excelsior Springs, Missouri. Myra, Pollock, Louisiana. Steve, Stewartville, Minnesota. Brian, Cucawana, Wisconsin. Tim in Covington, Georgia. So I could keep going. Wilda in Gettysburg. Ooh, that's a bad city there for me. Yeah, I'm not happy about that. Kent in Marion, Iowa. Sean in Pomona, California. Californians in the house. Charles, back to Cottonwood, Arizona. So join up, guys, at joinafc.org. Most importantly is keep the heat on the Congress. Yes, you're exactly right, Ben. Keep the heat on the Congress. Defeat HR5717.com. Defeat HR5717.com. Pound the Congress. If you're a FUD and you say don't do it, then get out of here. And then join up at joinafc.org. www.joinafc.org. Thank you. It just keeps, there's too many to read, guys. It just keeps pouring in. So, anybody have anything else to say tonight, guys? I think we're whittling away here. We want to say our pleasantries and say goodbye.
I don't think we have time to do state roundup because there's so much going on in each of these states right now. I could sit here and talk for 3 hours about Ohio right now. Ohio's been the test case and everything, but one thing I will say is that we have been seeing a lot more of Facebook censoring us. So if you're watching Ohio or Pennsylvania right now, I have pinned links in the comment section. You can go there and click to sign up to get our email updates. That stuff is a lot more censure-proof, and we've got major fights coming up ahead of us in both of these states. So go to ogoupdates.com or pfaupdates.com to get your emails.
Nice. St. Mary's, Ohio. Dane is in with $100. Thank you, Dane. Greg in Pilot Grove, Missouri is in with $50. Thank you. Keep heading around there, guys.
I'm just going to mention what Chris said with regards to the email updates. A lot of us are asking us for information all the time on Facebook. Our Facebook team is working like around the clock trying to answer these questions. But a lot of your Q&A is being answered in our email alerts. If you're not getting the email alerts from the American Firearms Coalition, that website, excuse me, is afcalerts.com. So write that down. Take a moment. Write it on your hand if you need to. My daughter always gets mad at me for doing that, so I try to avoid it. But afcalerts.com, that will opt you in to receive our texting updates if you want those. Our email updates, that's how you get the information delivered right to your inbox, right to your phone. That's where you have to go. If you're not getting those, that's a problem. You want to make sure and get that. Like Chris said, you cannot, we can't control what Facebook does very much to our system, but with email, we can control that. And so make sure you're getting those email updates. I'm going to continue on that vein, though, but as I wrap this up in my portion of it, like Chris mentioned, all these states have these systems in place. So if you're in Iowa, you want to be sure that you're going to igoupdates.com to receive updates in Iowa. And I don't care, frankly, you can sign up to get all of these state updates. If you want to watch what's going on, what we're all doing, that's totally fine. In Missouri, it's MOFC updates. mofcupdates.com. So for the Missourians, mofcupdates.com. In Wyoming, it's very simple. It's wygoupdates.com, wygoupdates.com. And for New York, it's nysfaupdates.com. So get signed up, guys, for your email updates. That's how you know what's going on. That's all I got for tonight.
It's mgralerts.com, by the way. I just want to throw that out there.
Holy cow.
I wanted a different one.
Another Wyoming guy with the largest contribution of the night, $125 from Dan in 10 Sleep, Wyoming.
10 Sleep, yeah.
The heck is that?
It's out there. I came through there last year with the family. Yep, beautiful.
Probably snowy out there, so
Snowy?
I don't want snow right now.
How could it be snowy? Is it still snowing out there?
Huh?
It's still snowing out there in Wyoming?
Well, we have to ask the Wyoming people that, but I know that the sledding is starting to slow down. The higher elevations, I'm sure they still have snow. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
So it depends
Wow.
on where you're at.
Yep.
Depends on where you're at. So,
Well,
All right.
I was just going to say, if you're check back to this page again tomorrow and in the following days for more updates coming out of Ohio. Things are changing every 5 seconds with our elections and with all that different stuff. And then also in Pennsylvania with all these executive orders that are being handed out. So just watch the state pages. We're not going to do a state roundup tonight. And that's all I've got for tonight, folks.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Whoops.
Hold on. I literally just got,
Did you get an alert?
as you were saying that, I just got a text. So for my peeps in Idaho, the governor has signed our bill into law.
oh, congratulations.
Big
So,
one.
Idaho, for those that aren't aware of what's going on in Idaho, we have now expanded constitutional carry the second time. We lowered the age limit down to 18 last year, and now this year, all Americans, all of you are welcome to the state of Idaho to carry without a permit. And up yours, moms demand action.
Very nice.
And
So previously it was residents only, correct, Greg?
It was kind of a weird. Outside of city limits, anybody could carry without a permit, but inside
Right.
of city limits, we had this really weird carve out, and so
right.
that's what we got rid of just now. So,
And correct me if I'm wrong, but don't you have constitutional carry for anybody 18 and older?
correct.
That was last year, he said, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
so that was
that's-
last year. So now all Americans in this can come to the state of Idaho, 18 and over, and carry without a permit.
Is
Concealed or
that the
open.
only state in the country like that?
18 plus?
Yeah.
At 18, I don't know that there's any other states that are 18. There might be one. I think Kansas is 19. Isn't Missouri? What's Missouri?
21.
And Missouri's 21. Yep.
Yeah.
All of yours, we win.
Well, Missouri's
Well-
got one of those deals where there's a dual system. So there's open carry, there's concealed carry, there's permitted carry, and there's regular, just like, carry with a shall issue permit. So there's different areas for different ages. So there's different structures. I think it's 18 for open carry, but for the most part, it's you need a permit.
Yeah. I
So
think-
well
those
done,
areas.
Greg. You're a shining
Yeah.
light on a hill for those of us who are working so hard to pass it in other states. So
That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
fantastic
See,
stuff.
we told you. We show you what we do. Greg's showing you right there. The moment he found out that the governor signed it into law,
Live.
you knew. Live. That's
So does that
beautiful.
mean that you have to do an email now, Greg, praising the governor? I know that's hard for all of us to do that. The best part about me passing, or about all our team here passing constitutional carry in Missouri, was over his override. So we got to do a great big middle finger to then Governor Nixon. And the best part about passing senior ground law in Wyoming in 2018 is it was because that prick governor, who's now gone Meade, wouldn't sign it. So it was also over his objection. So I've almost never been in a spot where I have to praise a governor, but you might have to consider it.
Yeah. Well, we've dumped over, looks like 5,000 emails to the governor in just a few days' time.
Lovely.
These are
Lovely.
Crazy.
How
And for-
many?
You see,
5,000.
folks, and that's about 5,001 more emails than were being lobbed in there probably by the NRA, and definitely 10,000 more than the National Association for Gun Rights has done into that state in the last 5 years combined. So
The who?
Yeah.
well
So-
done, Greg.
For the folks in Washington State, we're just launching, and a lot of these programs, we have to build up the organization to get on all these same programs that, with these groups that have been around for a while. So make sure you guys join WGR.com and help us build the group up. Ultimately, it's all grassroots driven. We don't have Michael Bloomberg type funding in any of these states. It's all you guys all the time. If the gun owners don't step up, we're not here. We don't do the job.
Yep.
So it's crucial that you guys get joined up and help us build up these organizations. These tools that we use are not cheap. They are spendy, but they're well worth it. Can you imagine me trying to send out an email saying copy and paste this here and copy and do all this crap here? Like
we went through that last year. It was awful.
Yeah.
It was awful. Oh,
anyway,
our members and supporters now are so much more powerful as a political entity. Now that we've got these beautiful tools that our membership has allowed us to go out and acquire on their behalf, I can't even tell you what a relief it is to watch these politicians getting their careers caved in because gun owners have tools in their hands to beat them with. It's wonderful.
Well, somebody else just dropped. We've got I'm going to call it the $125 challenge. So Dan in Tin Sleep, Wyoming just dropped $125. James in Hamilton, Ohio just dropped $125. You got Dan in St. Mary's, Ohio dropped $100. Zach dropped $100. So if you're so driven to do that, we will put it to good use, guys. Do we have anything else to say tonight, guys? I mean, other than joinafc.org, get your emails out at defeathr5717.com. We will be back next week unless something happens before then, right?
Yeah, we're going to keep
Sounds
giving
good.
updates on this bill and on what's going on in Congress. Like I said, it's a weird time. Anything goes. Anything goes at a time like this. I mean, I feel like we're supposed to be coming out of this whole coronavirus thing, but they're trying to lock us down for another month, another month and a half. So, I mean, if now's whatever security you thought you had with your state legislature or with Congress, a lot of that stuff went right out the window. The moment they started suspending all of this stuff and giving huge powers to, city entities, to mayors, to governors. So anything goes. So yeah, we'll have more updates on this, I'm sure, coming up very soon.
If that was Jim out of Hamilton, Ohio, the same Jim I think it is, he's the kind that you ride the river with, and that's the typical Ohio gun owners member right there. But he's one of those people who's kind of the cutthroat kind of people, and we're happy to have him on board.
Yeah, we need more of those. We need 100,000 people like that. I got all kinds of friends in Minnesota who are just cutthroat, nasty people, and they're the absolute best. They're the ones you want standing beside you in a foxhole, I'll tell you.
Yes, exactly.
So.
Well, that wraps it up, folks. Thanks for being here tonight. It was a great time. We'll probably have 50, 75,000. Last week's or Saturday's show is seen by over 100,000. I believe it's about to go out to our large and growing email list as well, guys. So have a great night. Stay safe. Be healthy. Never back down. Never give in. Stay active. Stay mobilized. Stay involved. Right. Keep fighting for our Second Amendment rights in this country, folks.
Yeah, and if you're under a shelter-in-place order, if you're being told to stay home, just realize that almost every single order that I've read so far has a First Amendment exception right in it. So if you get stopped or detained or anything, and they're like, "What are you doing?" Be like, "Exercise my God-given right to dissent through my First Amendment. Thank you very much."
Yes.
So that's all I've got.
Good. Okay. Iowa,
Right
Ohio,
here.
Georgia, Minnesota, Washington. We will see y'all next.